I never see Lasse Andersson and Matthias Kitzel tired.
It's the second worst defense in the tournament. What is Paris missing in defense?
If goalkeepers of Kielce can make 20 saves, I think Kielce is going to go through.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again! Yes!
And Magdeburg are the champions of Europe! To come up with something here, she has a game! This is a massive keeper! What a comeback!
And then it is time to talk handball again, everybody, right ahead of the most beautiful time of the year, because it's playoff time. Last week, we looked on the women's side, and of course, this week, we want to have a look at the men. And of course, for that, we need our experts in this round. This man, he has watched almost every handball game that has been aired since 1990, ladies and gentlemen. Our walking handball dictionary. Martin Vilstrup, how's it going?
I was hoping for you not to say Victor here. I was hoping to get that one actually, but I like the dictionary and the introduction. I'm good. Thank you. All good. Good to be back with you guys and to talk handball.
That sounds great. And of course, on the other side, he has won almost every trophy that mankind has ever invented. World champion, Champions League winner, all of that fun stuff. But the most important one, Mr. I Pack My Bag. Ladies and gentlemen, Víctor Tomàs, how are you?
Yes, actually, right now, the most important one is I pack my bag against you guys. And the count is 2-0 for me. So I'm super happy.
Yeah, true that. I gotta train my brain a little more just to reach out to you and to your greatness when playing I Pack My Bag. But, well, there's other things on this planet too. But, Victor, actually, you have been around quite a bit lately, so there was a little bit of an honor for you. What was there going on your social media the past days?
Yeah, it was the Spanish Handball Federation. They... taking advantage of the game Spain-Serbia that took place in Ciudad Real last Sunday. Today it's Tuesday, 9 p.m. Last Sunday it was Spain-Serbia. And in the halftime they wanted to make a recognition to some players that we did some good things for the national team. And it was 10 of us that we are either retired or announced that they will not be playing for the national team anymore. We just received a recognition with, all the trophies that we won for the national team, all the caps that we have and the goals that we scored. And feeling love from the crowd, it's always nice. So it was really nice to be able also to close this door for good, because as well I didn't have the chance to say goodbye to the national team. I played my last game in the World Championship 2017 in France, and then I never went to the national team again. It was very nice, and I'm grateful to the federation for that.
Yeah, great recognition for an all-time great Spanish player, that is for sure. Did they even have enough space for all your trophies that you won?
Yeah, actually, I was, for all the players that got a recognition, I think I'm one of the guys with less medals with the national team, because it was Raúl Entre Ríos. I think he's the one with the most. It was Dani Sarmiento. It was Viran Morros, Julen Aguinagalde, Jorge Maqueda. All of these guys has more medals than me, so for my trophies they have space, I can assure you that.
But I mean, lucky us that you are in that row among these names, and lucky us that we are able to be here and recording a podcast with you today once again. So congratulations once again for a great career in the national team, and everywhere else that you have stepped on the court. For instance, the Machineseeker EHF Champions League. You have played and won that competition as well, and we are done with the group phase, so we are just ahead of the playoffs right now. Martin, how did you like this year's group phase of the Machineseeker EHF Champions League?
Well, I think there's actually been some, I would say, surprisingly results. And in terms of, the prediction, I also find it a little bit difficult in terms of injuries to different teams. And also some teams may be disappointing a little bit, but I would say interesting with a lot of teams performing or maybe overperforming and some not performing at the level that we wanted them to.
Yeah, fair enough. Victor, how about you? If you had to give that group phase a school grade, what would it be?
I think it would be a B plus, because I think that we watched some surprises, which in handball sometimes is difficult to see. We have watched Magdeburg struggling because of injuries, of course, but they struggled at the end of the day. We have seen Kielce struggling as well for different reasons. Then we have seen some, in my opinion, surprising games. For example, Kolstad winning home against Magdeburg. I don't know. We have seen an exciting Sporting de Lisboa team. So I would say it was a B plus, because we saw great games and we could witness some surprises, and it's always nice to watch something like that.
What else needs to happen for an A?
Yeah, it's actually, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that somebody is winning in Palau, maybe.
Yeah, well, fair enough. But I would assume that for you, that would be a D minus if somebody actually took points from Palau Blaugrana.
For me, yes, but for the show, maybe it would be a better grade.
Yeah, fair enough. Martin, your school grade?
Well, then if you're asking for it, I can give it an A if you want, Bengt. And I was still more thinking like, Kolstad winning against Magdeburg, but I remember the game that Kolstad, I think they lost against Kielce in Norway, where Katalek, scored in the last second. And those kind of moments throughout the season sometimes end up being decisive for who's making it through or who's not. And, they ended up having the same amount of points. And here we are. Kolstad almost made a comeback. To me, the comeback in the group stage was also Víctor Tomàs. I think we had Lucas Stepentius also in as a guest, where he spoke about them trying to get back on track and actually making it. And we thought it looked a little bit tough with some of the games coming up, and now here they are in the knockout stage. I think both groups did something differently, where one of them, they were more excited about the second place with the Fischer Berlin and Sporting and Paris. And then the other one, there was, for me, a little bit more excitement for which teams are making it through, with Kolstad, Kielce, Magdeburg, and even also Szeged, if I remember correctly, in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's why I rank it a solid A as well, because it was tensionous up until the end. So we never knew who was going to make it through. Small teams that were playing up big time. Some teams that we didn't really see throughout the last years, like Nantes, for instance, they came in strong into this Champions League season. And even though the names Mikkel Hansen and Nikola Karabatic, of course, were missing, it was a super intense group phase, which just came to an end. And it did come to an end in an encounter between Aalborg and Nantes. So these two teams played for the second spot for the direct quarterfinal ticket. And it did end up to go to Aalborg because it was a draw. So that game did end up in a draw. I think it was Nantes who started into the game with quite a lead, and Aalborg always needed to come back into the game. And that seems to be in Germany we say the red string that is going through the Aalborg season. They often seem to start the games a little more slowly. Martin, what do they need to adjust to maybe even start games on the winning side and not be trailing all the time when 5 minutes are being played?
Oh. Yeah, well, the easy answer would be just to be ready for whatever comes. But I think the last period of time with Aalborg, for them it was kind of a relief for them to make it through the group stage with the second place, because they had a lot of games coming up every third day with playing against GOG in the Danish league. Then they played against Barcelona. Then they played Nantes also, and they had many tough games. I think it was around 5 or something like that in 15 days. And then they also struggle with a little bit of smaller injuries. Now they're getting Mads Hoxer back, which for them is very, very positive. And also Mølgaard is probably also going to be more fit. And then we saw earlier this season also Niklas Landin. You guys predicted them to go very far, even win it in this competition. And I have to say that the way that they've been playing, and having in mind that some players are coming back, it looks pretty positive from their side at the moment. But in terms of being ready for the 5 minutes, well, that's something everybody wants to and everybody speaks about. And sometimes people, can you say, get for a bad start, but the top teams, they believe in themselves and feel confident about them making it back into the game. But I think it's more a mental thing than it's about the physical part.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention Mads Hoxer coming back here, so he is a player to maybe be able to make a difference. Victor, what do you think? In which role will he come back into this Aalborg squad?
Yeah, we will see. We will see how good physically he's feeling, because Turin is doing a great job in the right back position. But I think he can be a key player for Aalborg. I think it's very good for them that they don't have to play the 8 finals, and then he have a little bit more time to compete in the Danish league, to get in shape for the kind of games that are awaiting for them in the quarterfinals. But I think that Mads Hoxer has the quality and it's not potential anymore, because he is a reality. So he has the quality to be a key player for Aalborg.
Not the only one who actually joins into the squad and bringing in quality. We didn't really even talk about it yet. That Sander Sargosen actually joined Aalborg here. But I had a look at the last 5 matches that Aalborg played. They always conceded at least 29 goals, most of the times even more. So I think 4 out of those 5, they conceded 30 plus goals. Is Sargosen actually the puzzle piece to fix the Aalborg defense, Martin?
Defensively, I don't think he's the answer. Sander Sargosen is the only answer, but I think he's going to strengthen the squad. And if we remember what level he performed at the last time he was at Aalborg, then he's going to be a very, very positive signing. But for me, Sander Sargosen, it's also about him finding his own level again. I don't think he's been performing probably at the level he wanted to, and especially also not the level that most people probably expected him to. That's why he went to Norway to try his luck there. But now the opportunity to come back to Aalborg and compete for big titles nationally and internationally is important. So him coming back, Mads Hoxer being able to contribute defensively, because Jack Turin, as Victor said, has been doing very well. I'm a little bit surprised about him, actually, to be honest. But he is not the best defensive player, if we can say it like that. And then let's not forget that Martins also came back, and Lucas Nilsson also will be coming back from an injury. I have to say they are looking super strong.
Yeah, near future does look good for Aalborg. So their quarterfinal that awaits them in just a little bit I think it's about in a month or something like that from now on. Could be a good sign for Aalborg. On the other hand, Nantes had the possibility to qualify for the quarterfinal directly with a victory over Aalborg. It was just a 29-29, but they did miss Emerick Min, so their playmaker who suffered a knee injury in a league game. It ended up in a draw. So will the absence of Emerick Min actually make a difference for Nantes in their playoff matchup against Plock too? Victor, what do you think?
Yes, I think so. It's the starter in this position, and it's one of the top scorers of the team, if not the top scorer of the team. But on top of that, they have their other two playmakers, which are De La Bretèche and Obnicek, injured. All of them long-term injuries. And they signed a new player now. I don't remember his name. Forgive me for that. But it's going to be interesting how they prepare these 8 finals against Plock, because Plock is growing in terms of confidence as well. So yeah, I think Emerick Min is going to be a huge player that Nantes is going to miss for the rest of the season, also in the French league.
Yeah, well, I don't entirely know whether it's the rest of the season. So the last info that I had was that he was about to miss for 6 to 8 weeks, I think. So a potential quarterfinal, it could come too early, but let's keep our fingers crossed that the best players are fit for the most intense matches of the season. Martin, do you have other info on that, or...
No, I was just trying actually while Victor was speaking to look up the name of the player, O'Brien Nyantu or something like that.
Nyantu?
Nyantu. Yeah, the French accent. You guys are better than me.
I
have to get... No, but I think Min, and that was also one of the names coming to my head when I was thinking about it. And I have to be honest, the matchup against Wisla Plock, I quickly said it earlier, that they have been a positive, you cannot say maybe a surprise, but they've been doing very well after Christmas in this new year and performing very good. So I think this matchup is going to be very close, especially if I remember correctly, the first leg and first match going to be played in Poland. And, that's a tough place to play. And to me, it's a very, very tight one. This matchup is having in mind with Nantes and all the injuries they had or having at the moment.
Yeah, Plock is a super interesting opponent to look at, because if we're seeing their record since matchday 11, no loss for them, even though there were matches against Paris and against Füchse Berlin, for instance. Yeah, so they do have the ability to take down big opponents. We have Thomas Piroc with a name to look out for, with 10 goals against Füchse and PSG. Gergo Fashika scored 8 against Sporting and PSG each. So, Victor, what do you think? How dangerous is this Plock for Nantes?
I think the last time they faced each other, it was also in the 8 finals. And Plock was the winner of this playoff.
Right.
So I think that Plock is very dangerous because they showed how can they perform against big teams. I think the start of the competition was quite slow, and I was negatively surprised at the beginning because I expected them to win some more points, but they ended up playing the way I think they can play and making great results. So I think that it's a very open playoff, this one between Nantes and Plock.
Yeah, I do think so too. And you always like to say that, the winner will eventually be the team with a better goalkeeper. We do see Viktor Hallgrimsson against Ivan Pesic and Nacho Biosca. So who has the better goalkeeper in the end?
Well, I was actually, before you asked the question, thinking about Victor Hallgrímsson, because I've been thinking that he's been performing well. And let's also have in mind that they have an experienced goalkeeper, Alilovic, also on the as available. But Bioska and Beres, it's a difficult one. But I think for the last couple of games, having in mind how Víctor Tomàs been played and they playing with confidence and having a better defense, then at the moment I would probably go for Hallgrímsson. But that can quickly bounce back, and the goalkeepers had earlier showed that they have higher quality. But Hallgrímsson for me is interesting player. Played earlier in the Danish league. Now he's in France. He played in France as well. If I remember correctly, he played for Nantes
Yeah,
as
he
well.
played for Nantes. He
And
just
now,
came from there.
yeah,
Victor played for Nantes and Nacho Bioska played
Yeah.
for Plock.
Yeah.
exactly.
In this playoff that Plock won, the goalkeepers were swapped.
They switched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So, he's only 24 years of age, and I find him a very interesting goalkeeper. But as I said, this is gonna be tight, and you said it yourself. It could be goalkeepers deciding this outcome. I remember last time, was it in penalties or something like that? The match Victor spoke about. I don't know. It was. That says it all. So we are in for a treat in terms of matchup here.
Just like I said, that guy watched every handball game that has been aired since 1990. So you are the guy to give us that info. But actually, when both goalkeepers know the other team so well, is it an advantage? What kind of advantage can you pull out of that? That you basically just came from the opponent and know the opponent's offense quite well.
Yeah, it's always, in my opinion, it's always better for the goalkeepers than for the shooters. And it depends how good they were in the trainings, because there is this mental games that the players, they know inside them, I got this guy or this other one, it's very difficult to save a ball. So deep inside, they all know how they feel against each other. And I think that it's more an advantage for the goalkeepers than for the shooters.
Yeah, fair enough. I do see that. So let's see. We'll get your predictions in at the end of this episode, just like last time. But we are going to move on to the next playoff that is being played there. And I want to have a look at Dinamo Bucuresti against SC Magdeburg. And of course, we got to start with Magdeburg here. Back-to-back in the Final Four 2 years ago. They won the Machineseeker EHF Champions League. But still, they did have a super wild season. So they were on the edge of getting eliminated for a very short period of time. And now they even made it to the 4th place in their group, in Group B. And that is quite an achievement. Yet they are still only 2 points away from having been knocked out. So they were still on the edge, but they did make the cut. Martin, how will Magdeburg look back at this group phase?
Well, with all the injuries and all the can you say how unlucky have they been in terms of injuries? I think they look back on it as kind of a relief that they made it through, which was expected. There were at some point that we had a little bit of doubt because of also the German league and they want to compete for the title. But for me, it's been crucial that Felix Klar is back and contributing. For me, he's probably the best player they have, having in mind with all the other injuries that they have with Gisli and Omaingi. But I also have to give a little bit of a shout out to Matthias Musche, the left wing. I think he's been performing very stable, and also in defense, he's been coming number 2 there and helping the team. But for me, the change is Felix Klar, and they will look back at it as they made it through, and now they are in a last 16 knockout match where they are facing Dinamo, which I think they are pretty happy about, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. We are going to look at their opponent in a second here, but let's stay with Magdeburg for a bit, because eventually they did secure their good spot in the group, and they're with all due to respect, a potentially easier opponent with Bucuresti, with a huge win on the last match day over Szeged, and Szeged did play a very good round here too. Is that a sign for us that we can never rule out Magdeburg and they will always be there when they're asked to, Victor?
Yes, I think so. I think that they bounced back when they had the more players injured. I think it was like a lot of them. It was Gisli, Omar Ingi, Lagergren, also
Senda.
Beber was injured at some point
And
after
Senda.
Kielce, and so I think that they showed a lot of character, which is great. Some of the players that were playing less, they delivered good performances to the team to win these crucial games. So I think that in the head of Bennett Vigard now, he can use more players in the important moments of the game. So I think that the team who is less happy with Magdeburg bouncing back and getting in the fourth position is Vesprem, because if I'm not wrong, if they go through these 8 finals, they will face Vesprem in the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
So of course, these 8 finals has to be played because everybody is taking Magdeburg as a favorite. Me too. But I think that Dynamo has showed this season that it's strong. It's quite strong. So it's not easy to go to Romania and win a game because it's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. So we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, Bucuresti, they did have their encounters against German teams lately last year in the European League. I think it was 6 encounters against German teams. They didn't win a single one, but at least this year, for once, they took down Füchse Berlin, and now they are getting the next German opponent with Magdeburg. Martin, can you give me a reason why this not so positive record, to say it calmly, from Bucuresti is going to change against Magdeburg?
Victor said it. I think it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. And you said they beat it Füchse Berlin. They also beat it Sporting at home. And I think they have players as Ali Sain. They have Miklos Rosta. They have Langaro, who also been playing. Yeah, who's been playing in Barcelona, also have the experience. So I think they have some players that can do some damage to Magdeburg. And then, of course, also important that Chupara in goal will have a good game. But for me, a good result in Romania, will it make them believe in it? It's possible. So, the atmosphere have them give them some extra percent, and then they have to top perform. And I think Magdeburg not hitting their best level, then they have a chance.
Yeah, especially since Magdeburg has shown us this season that they do have their down games. I mean, you guys said it already that there were some injuries, but the facts stated that they did lose 2 out of 4 matches against the teams that did not make the cut in Zagreb and in Kolstad. But now that they can rely on their fuller squad again, do you think we can rule out a down game from Magdeburg in the playoff round, Victor?
No, we can never rule out a bad day because they are human beings and they compete a lot. They travel, they have families, they have problems. So we can never rule out a bad day or a bad performance. But with all being said, Magdeburg, they played their best in the most important moments for them, when they needed the most. And this is one of the moments when they needed the most. So I would say it's difficult that we see a bad game from Magdeburg.
Yeah, difficult for sure.
In Romania, yes.
The only thing that is talking in advantage of them having a bad game or anything is that while we're recording here and it will be released afterwards, but they're playing against Füchse Berlin 5 days before, but I don't think it will have any effect on, the matchup where Dynamo is pretty secured for the championship in Romania. Magdeburg is competing for for the title with a lot of other teams in Germany, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. But let's see what a Romanian atmosphere can do with the Germans that are normally pretty used to crazy atmospheres.
Yeah. So German championship will be an interesting one. Magdeburg is lacking 3 games there, actually, and they still need to catch up on that one. And just for the back of your heads, in the Machineseeker EHF Champions League this season, Magdeburg only won 1 game on away soil. But that just for the predictions later on, that you guys have that in mind, and they will play 1 at home for sure. So we'll see. Next one is one of my actually favorite playoff games here. We have Paris Saint-Germain, like that today, all those French names, against PIK Szeged. Due to 1 draw and 4 losses in 5 matches, Szeged actually dropped down to the 5th place. But the draw that they got was against Barcelona. So and the game against Magdeburg was a close one. Yeah, no victory in the past 5 matches, but good games against big opponents. Martin, in which shape is Szeged at right now?
Oh, if you asked me before Christmas, then I would have said that they were in a pretty good shape. I think now less confident. Is it because of Szeged lacking a little bit of quality, or is it because other teams are stepping up? That's the good question. But I know that Paris and Szeged also played against each other in the group last year, where Paris also won both matches. So I mean, Szeged, I'm not going to rule out, because we've seen in the Hungarian league what they can do with Vístrup, but I don't think there are at the moment. Now we have a national team break, but before that, I don't think they were at the level we kind of, can I say, expected them to. They were close, but let's not forget they were close against Aalborg and Barcelona to getting points against the team. So it's also a team that we've seen earlier that they can do damage.
Yeah, that is for sure, that they can do damage. One of the guys to actually do damage is the top scorer of the Machineseeker EHF Champions League, Mario Šoštarić, in their roles. Great guy. You guys should go and listen to the episode a couple of weeks ago, because we did have him as a guest. And yeah, well, he's the top scorer. So can one even take a psychological advantage out of that, or doesn't that matter at all, Victor?
No, that's not important at all. Of course, it's important for Szeged that one of his players is in a good streak, and hopefully we can see Mario Šoštarić playing like this, because I really enjoy when wing players are on fire. But if I would have to bet on this one, I think it's very, very, very tight. But I would go for Paris, only because, in my opinion, and it's a personal opinion, the goalkeeper duo. If I would have to take a goalkeeper duo at this moment, I would go for Palika Green.
Yeah, understandable.
Instead of Mikler Tulin, But of course, everything can happen. But we are just guessing here. That's why we are doing this podcast.
True that.
It makes it funny,
Yeah, that's what the analysis and predictions are about, and to be wrong every now and then too. But we are going to get back to your predictions in a bit here, because we still want to look at that matchup, of course. Just talked about Mario Šoštarić being on top of the list, but PSG isn't doing too bad either. They have Kamil Šepšák with 84 goals right now. And him and his opponent will probably and most likely be Benchabanidi. So 2 very, very big and strong guys. But Martin, would you think that Benchabanidi is able or is capable to defend a Kamil Šepšák?
He definitely have the physical capacity to do it, and they also have other big players as Magnus Abelvik Rød and Bodo Markovsek and But I think this is a talking point for every team playing against Paris Saint-Germain that they need to stop Zubczak. But he's also scoring a lot of goals on penalties. Maybe it's also important to have a look at Yahya Omar and Brandy. But Victor said it earlier, it's going to be interesting with this matchup in terms of how Paris are going to approach it with the offensive play, because they have some players as Zubczak, Luke Steins, that probably not are the most are the best defensive player in the world, without being rude. But I mean, on the other hand, for me, Paris also played a game against Nantes in the French league, which were very important for them that they won that one, because now they are top of the league in the French league and can go into this game with a little bit of confidence, knowing that they are on top of the league in the French league. But Bodo Zubczak, that's the one hell of a matchup in terms of line players.
Yeah, true that. True that. But I mean, on one hand side, you just opened that topic too, because offense is funny, but defense makes the money. And with that being said, we gotta have a look at Paris Saint-Germain. So we did talk about defenses already. But let's look at PSG and let's look at the stats. It's the second worst defense, not among the top teams, not in their group. It's the second worst defense in the tournament. So that is a statement. Victor, what is Paris missing in defense?
In my opinion, they are missing one more player to be able to defend in number 3 or 4. Which is not the left wing, because it's Greville, which is a good defender. But then I think that when Peleka is inside, they lose a little bit the consistency in defense. So I think that they would need a player, a strong player in that position. And then I also think that when they are not defending 6-0 with other defending systems, in my opinion, they don't feel very comfortable with that. So I think that, in my opinion, with one more player being able to defend in the center, and then I think Peleka is doing a great job in the 5-1 because he's a big guy. Also, Greville could do that. Maybe they could also have some, time for breathing for Luka Karabatic in this position if he has to play attack and defense. And then another player who could defend in this position would be very, very nice for the coach.
It would be nice, that is for sure. Yeah, Martin?
No, it's just that Victor said it's going to be the transition between, the two goals, how they can go from defense to offense and offense to defense. And I think most often Paris also play games. And I also think Fischer Berlin is one of the teams that where there are high scoring games. Vesprem also sometimes, they have Luke Stein who loves to, bring some speed into the game because that's one of his strengths. But it's going to be interesting with to see how they going to approach the game in terms of the defense, PSG. And if, for me, Peleka is the kind of goalkeeper that shows up whenever, he has some moments where every eye is on him and a lot of spectators, and he knows, I think he likes these games where there's, a lot of stake.
Yeah,
at stake.
There is a lot at stake, that is for sure. And I mean, of course, their defense doesn't stand as strong as they would like to, but still, they won 9 out of their 14 matchups. So they are points-wise on level terms with the Sporting, who actually made it directly to the quarterfinals. So it isn't a bad group phase for Paris that they are playing, that is for sure. And well, I mean, I asked Victor, or Victor told us about his prediction already. Martin, how are the roles distributed in this playoff game? Is Paris the favorite?
Yeah, to me, they are the favorites. Also, as I said, having in mind that they are number 1 in the French league, I think that win against Nantes was crucial for them. And also, a little bit of history for me having in mind, and how they are coming into the matchup with as Szeged not being, super. Probably they are pretty confident about it, but they had a better role and a better, streak before these games, and I think Paris are the favorites. Not big favorites, but I will 60-40, something like that, maybe 65-35.
Yeah, well, interesting, because that shows that it definitely is not impossible for Plock to, for Szeged to make it through to the quarterfinal. But we'll see how that one will develop. And then, let's just put ourselves into an imaginary situation. You are playing a Champions League season, let's say, for instance. And then you come close to making it directly to the quarterfinals, equal points as the second place, and you're basically only one Plock goal away from actually making it, because Plock leveled, or Plock drew against Sporting, and Sporting did get a point there. And then you get drawn against Kielce, who are actually who have been in a final just lately, twice in a row. What would you think out of Berlin's perspective out of for that playoff matchup, Victor?
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best, of course. I think that they are not super happy, but Berlin is used to play really, really tough games every week. So I think that they just don't think too much about the name of the team. They just think about how to face the playoff. And I will say two things. I think Füchse Berlin is favorite, but if goalkeepers of Kielce can make it with both games 20 saves, both games, so 10 and 10, or I don't know, 12 and 8,
or 20 and 0.
Yeah, I think Kielce is going to go through.
Oh, actually, 20 saves as the magic line. Martin, what's your thoughts on that?
I like it. Well, I like it whenever somebody is, coming up with something that's probably...
I'm just feeling taking risks today.
Yeah.
Like it.
Well, I also think that Füchse Berlin is the favorites, and Berlin has to, as Victor say, have a very good 2 games if they're gonna make it through. It's been a crazy season for Kielce also. I don't think they're gonna make it, but Victor has a point that if they make it, or if they want to make it, that's one of the positions where they need to top perform. But on this one, I have to say that Victor is on his own.
Yeah, well, and I mean, especially the 20 saves would have been easier last year when there was still an Andy Wolf in between the posts. Having seen Milos Wallach throughout the entire season, Victor, now that you brought up that bold call, how did you see his season as a starter for Kielce? How well did they succeed in replacing Andy Wolf?
I think they were not fully prepared for this move, and when it happened, it was quite late to transfer another goalkeeper. So I think they just decided to trust the goalkeepers they had with, it was Balach and Cordalia, and I don't think they delivered. I don't think they performed. I could see a lot of games from Kielce where there is a lot of times misunderstanding when the block is jumping, where the goalkeeper has to go, and the players sometimes they get a little bit frustrated because the goalkeeper is not going to his side, and then the ball is going into the goal when the defense is expecting the goalkeeper to be there. So yeah, I think actually he was not a solid starter, because we have seen Cordalia also starting some games. So I think they were very, very unlucky with the injury of Ferlin when they signed him. So I think that the weakest point this season so far has been the goalkeeper position in Kielce.
Yeah, fair enough. And one of those reasons why you never really know what to expect when Kielce steps on the court. Will it be a victory against Barca? Will they lose to Zagreb? You never know. I feel like Kielce is always a surprise back. Martin, why is it?
Well, I think you have a soft spot for Kielce and Bengt also. They are, they got under your skin here. I'm not that super much into Kielce, but I mean they have players that can on not even on good days. It's also have something to do with injuries with Alex Dushabayev, Shitko. Then they have Karalek, Morito, Nahi. And even also Daniel Dushabayev, they are quality players, but they have to
Hassan
be fit,
Kada.
all of them. Yeah, also, am I also forgetting Karasic? There are a lot of players and also experienced players that played it before. And as I said with Palika, this go for the same with Alex Dushabayev also, when games has to be decided, he's the guy, it seems like the ball is just automatically going to him and he's not letting go of it because he wanna be the one taking the decisions. But Kielce is gonna be putting up a fight in Poland. They also just won against Plock in the Polish league, but for me, Füchse Berlin is the smaller favorites, as I said.
Yeah, understandable, and that's why we want to talk about Füchse Berlin for a second here, longer too, because they have been away for such a long time out of the Champions League. It's Gitzel's, it's only his second season. It's actually only Gitzel's second season in the Machineseeker EHF Champions League, and he's already at the second place in the top scorer list. Füchse, they are they do have the second best attack in the tournament, and only one single game where they with less than 30 goals throughout the entire group phase. So I want to ask the question, is Füchse Berlin even better than we expected them to be?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. What it's not stopping to amazing me is how they handle physically both competitions, because Füchse Berlin is
1 point behind Melsung in the Bundesliga.
Yes, yeah, but the squad
of the big German teams that are competing for everything, I think it's one of the teams with the less depth of squad. So it's amazing me how can they handle this physical toughness of the competition, because they are playing a lot of minutes, especially Gitzel and Lasse Andersson, but also Marsenic playing a lot of minutes, and they are still there. So I don't think they are better than I expected, but what is surprising me is how good they are physically prepared.
Martin, you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I have to agree with Victor. The thing is that I also think they don't have the capacity within the squad to, have that many injuries. And they had a couple with Max Dye going out, Lukas Herburger, Reichmann. I also think he was injured. That's why they took in Leo Brandner from Italy. I think there's one more that I'm forgetting. Jerry Tolbring also, but on the other hand, Freihöfer, he's been playing amazingly in the Bundesliga and also been doing pretty well in the Champions League. But as Victor said, it's unbelievable because every time you see Berlin, then it's Gitzel, it's Lasse Andersson playing a lot, it's Marsenic, also Lickline is playing a lot. At some point they gotta get exhausted, with all the tournaments they had, also with the national team.
One of the things that I'm really amazed is that I never see Lasse Andersson and Matthias Gitzel tired. Well, they are always moving like they are fresh, I never see especially Matthias Gitzel, because it's a little lighter than Lasse Andersson. I always see this speed and this how fast he is on doing his change of direction, change of rhythm. He always looks fresh, and this is really amazing me.
Fair enough.
And normally you would think that they should take some of the speed and tempo out of the game because there are not that many players. But as you said, Victor, they're running all the time. Gitzel, he cannot stand still. I don't know why it is like that, but he's, in terms of energy, I don't know what they are having in Berlin, but it's just impressive that they can keep on going with that energy level.
Fair enough, true that. But one thing that is definitely not amazing about both teams is one statistic that I want to give you along. 16th versus 14th in 7-meter efficiency. How many missed penalties are we going to see in both legs?
How did you say that?
Legs.
How many penalties?
How many
did
missed
they
penalties? So we see the 16th place against the 14th place when it comes down to 7-meter efficiency.
And what's the percentage?
Füchse Berlin is at 68.1% and Kielce is actually at 49.1%. They miss every second penalty.
Wow. That's a disaster.
It is. It truly is.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go with something that's probably... Then I'm going to say we're only going to see 2 misses.
Only 2 misses? Oh, wow. That
the
sounds like
opposite.
a hot take.
Then...
Victor, what do you say?
Victor said it today.
I'm saying in both matches.
Mm-hmm.
So counting, let's say, I don't know, 6.
Then I'm going to meet you guys in the middle, and I'm going to go for 4. But actually, the more important question is who's winning it. So let's start predicting here, ladies and gentlemen. It is the playoff round of the Machineseeker EHF Champions League. And I want to know from you guys, who's winning it? Kielce against Füchse Berlin. Who's making it through?
I said it already. I think
Berlin.
I think Berlin is favorite. But
Berlin.
You know the numbers, how I count them.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
And Bengt, you're taking Kielce. And Bengt, you're taking Kielce, your team.
Well, I mean, I'm really in a biased situation here because, of course, I'm keeping up the German flag. Now, Füchse Berlin is making it. They are going to go through to the quarterfinals. And then the next question is for the next game. Paris Saint-Germain against Szeged. Who is going to make it through to the quarterfinal, Martin?
Paris Saint-Germain. I'm trying to do it short here because you guys are always complaining about me, taking too long.
Good
job
Martin.
there.
Thank you.
Good job there.
I said it already. I think Paris as well.
Fair enough. I'm going to go for a surprise here. I think Szeged is actually making it, and PSG is exiting early this time. Will it happen as well to the penultimate champions? SC Magdeburg is facing Dinamo Bucharest. Victor, what do you think? Who's making it through to the quarterfinal?
I think Magdeburg are the favorites.
Agreed on that. Martin, you too?
Once in a while it happens, but I'm actually agreeing with the both of you.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of unity here, so I am very interested in seeing whether the last one will be united as well. So let's see. Last playoff matchup will be played again between Plock and Nantes. So who's making it through? Martin, you may start.
Vístrup and Plock.
Vístrup and Plock, okay.
I really don't know.
These knockout stage, there's gonna be some kind of surprise, and this is the, here's my take.
I will go for Nantes.
I think I have to agree with Victor here because Plock, it would still be a huge surprise, but I just like to see Nantes this season. They're playing a great ball. Even though lately it didn't look as good as it used to look. But we'll see. We'll see. So, interesting round that is laying ahead of us. And I'm looking forward to it. I said it already, which one is my favorite game. It is actually, Szeged against PSG. Martin and Victor, what are your favorite games? Which ones are you looking out for?
This last playoff that we predicted.
So Plock against Nantes.
Yeah, Plock against Nantes. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Well, I wanted to say that one as well, but I'm going to go with Kielce Fischer Berlin then, so nobody is agreeing on anything here in the end.
Great. Cool. You guys are seeing it. There's a lot of action laying ahead of us and a lot of action coming in from Martin here too.
No, I just, like last episode, I have a thing also to say here in the end before we're going to close it up.
Go ahead.
Should I just go ahead? Okay, it's just Victor, he got a recognition also at the European qualification game. I just have to give a quick shout out to the Faroe Island also for winning against the Netherlands in the Netherlands. And my shout out is going to all the spectators from the Faroe Island who made it to the Netherlands. I think there were around 1,000 or something like that. And it's just that I love to see spectators making a lot of noise and going crazy and cheering for their own teams. And they keep on, making my heart a little bit warm. I have the same feeling about the Faroe Island as you have for Kielce. So big shout out to the Faroe Island.
Yeah,
they couldn't trip. It couldn't trip. More people couldn't go there because then the island would be empty. But
and somebody's got to check whether the airport is occupied or not. So
it's just a joke. I don't want any people from Faroe Island get mad at me because of that. It's just a joke.
Understood.
Yeah,
but it's not the biggest population.
It's just amazing. It's amazing what they do. It's just how in the hell can they participate at this level? One day I made, of course, roughly calculations on how many male players are eligible for the team, and it's around 25,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is
it's just
insane.
crazy.
Yeah, and out of those 25,000 to actually get a national team who is competing on a high level, I have huge respect for that.
Yeah.
And the population is around 55,000 people, something like that. And then you still have around 1,000 traveling to the Netherlands. It just show what that kind of, team spirit, or what you would say, collects around handball and the love for the game. It's amazing. And this episode, it was a positive thing from my side.
True that. Actually, how did you come to 25,000? Because if there's 55,000 people...
No,
sorry.
It's less than that. It's less than that.
It's even less. That makes it more impressive.
Yeah, because I was just making, to put it even better. But it's just crazy, It's just crazy. It's maybe, I don't know, 12,000, 15,000.
Yeah. Not many. Let's just say for sure, it's not many they can choose in between, and then they're doing so great. And I actually don't think in the qualification and for a little bit of a period they haven't lost, at Tórshavn at the Faroe Islands. So that's one hell of a arena they're having up there, if we can call it an arena for what they're having.
Yeah, fair enough. The Faroe Islands are an amazing country, and the playoff round is an amazing round that is just about to be played. And we're looking forward to it. We're hoping that you guys are doing that. Likewise, if you want to watch the games, just make sure to visit ehftv.com, and then you can watch them at home too. So enjoy the playoff round, and we will be back the next time when it's time to talk handball again.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Ooh, into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
Magdeburg are the champions.